Bonjour, bonsoir. C'est un peu l'aube encore chez moi, il est que 10 heures. Bonjour, bienvenue, bonsoir. J'attends Christian, avec qui je vais faire le live aujourd'hui. Ce sera en anglais. Comment rester focus pour créer une belle vie. Bienvenue. Vous allez aujourd'hui?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, my
Coucou, my
love.
love.
Coucou.
Well, we just saw each other. We were in a call just before.
Yeah, let's not act like we just met.
So, hi everyone. I'm very happy today to welcome Christian, my partner, and we will have a conversation together about how to stay focused to create a beautiful life. And I don't even remember why we had this idea. I think we've been wanting to do a live about just being creators and going for it when you want something. And then we just came up with the idea.
And then we asked, right? You remember we asked the tarot cards what kind of topic we should talk about. And then we received the message, focus. And this brought us into this topic, basically.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now I'm in Costa Rica. I'm in our home with an amazing view. Let me show you. So this is my view. I don't know if it's working. My internet's a bit slow. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, yeah. It's just the internet connection here. I was just dropping out of the Wi-Fi. Let's see if it's working. Otherwise, we'll go to a different corner of the apartment.
Okay, thank you. So I'm in our home in Costa Rica, where we created a beautiful life. We moved here last year, and we're pretty happy, like very happy, actually. And Christian is now in the Netherlands. And do you want to maybe say a few words about who you are and why you're in the Netherlands now and everything?
Yeah, as you probably all guessed, I'm the partner of Ancle, or probably already know. I'm the partner of Ancle, and I'm right now in the Netherlands because I'm visiting here my parents, but I also do have to do some paperwork. My parents actually live in Germany, but it's really, really close to the German border. That's why I somehow enjoy Netherlands more than Germany. And I decided to go here.
Yeah. And you had a retreat in Berlin.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I also had a 1-week retreat in Berlin, co-facilitating in breathwork. We have a breathwork school together with 2 other people. And we were hosting a retreat there for the students of the breathwork school that we have.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
So I know that there is a lot of people who want to achieve things in their lives. They want to maybe train in some new topics that they are passionate about. Some people want to shift their jobs. Some people want to move abroad. Some people want to transform their relationships. A lot of people want to have a good life and a happy life, fulfilling. But not everyone has the drive to keep it going and to make it happen. And it's an everyday commitment. And when you don't know exactly where you're heading and why you're doing something, and when you don't see things moving on a daily basis, then you could be a little bit discouraged and think, oh, why am I even doing that? Because there is no answer in front of me from life showing me that this is the right path. And how am I going to hold on the long run? How am I going to do that? So it feels to me that we're doing it quite well. Probably we have some space for improvement, but we do have made beautiful choices that we committed to and that we commit every day. So maybe we can share some tips about that. And
yeah, that's a good idea. And we also
That's
received some
fabulous.
questions, not many questions, but a few questions that we can also answer
Yeah.
in our conversation. But it's a really great topic and also really resonates with me because when I, 2 years ago, actually even longer ago, when I decided to quit my job in the corporate world, this was also a decision that I made, which was quite aligned with what I was envisioning for my life. And as soon as I did this decision, there was no doubt clear for me that
Is
I
this me?
will quit my job.
I didn't hear that, the last sentence.
I'm
Is
not
this you
sure.
or is this me?
You know, it could be me. It could be me. I will change the place here.
Okay.
I will go somewhere else.
Okay.
Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
All right, here.
Good.
Let's see if it's better.
It's a good light.
You
It's
think
a good
so?
light. It's like you have, like, you're an angel, you have some light behind you.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 years or 3, I mean, even longer ago, I made the decision of leaving corporate world because this was really aligned with what I was envisioning for my life. And there was no doubt to this decision. It was super, super clear, even like the world was speaking to it. You remember when we were sitting in the backyard, this is still one of my favorite synchronicities in life, when we were sitting in the backyard and we were talking about that I'm feeling ready to quit my job. And then suddenly a sparrow fall dead from the sky. This was probably the most important synchronicity and the most direct synchronicity that I ever had.
I remember it was huge. It was such a huge message. It's done.
Yeah.
You're done. It's finished.
Exactly. It's done. And don't ask me
Yeah.
from where this sparrow was coming from. Maybe a crow was picking it up, flying around, letting it drop then, or maybe it really just died in the sky and then fall from the sky. I have no idea.
Well, it was messenger. Thanks. Yeah, let's thank his life
absolutely.
because he was a great messenger for you.
Yeah.
You're actually a very great example for me about commitment because I've seen you going to work every day to your former job and still learning every day because you were committed to different trainings and working as a breathwork facilitator. So you had so many days in one day. You were able to do that because of your choices. And maybe you can share about, I don't know, your mindset and like how come you've been like doing that? Like, is it natural to you or did you have to create a frame for you to be able to do it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Let's see how I can answer it. What's coming up for me is being disciplined in a way. And I learned to be disciplined, I don't know, 16 years ago around. Maybe 12 years ago, 13 years ago
Jim?
when I was, exactly. When I was studying in the Netherlands in the last 2 years, I basically had to give my life an own structure because I didn't have any lessons, any meetings that I had to attend. So I basically had 24 hours, just time to do whatever I want to do. I mean, of course, I had my deadlines and so on, but there were no meetings during the day. And I was really struggling during this time to be focused and to be productive. And I dived then into topics like productivity and how to increase focus. And one thing that was coming up for me was morning routines. So how you start the day has a huge impact on how productive you are and how much focus you can bring into the day. This was really, really helping me to stay focused and to be disciplined, to try to accomplish certain goals during the day. But the other thing that you were commenting on was fitness. And this also started during the same time because also what I noticed was that movement was super important to me, to move my body on a regular basis so that I could keep in high energy. And especially now being here in the Netherlands, being not surrounded by such an alive and wide nature around me, I notice it even stronger that I have to move my body to keep the energy high so that I actually can also produce and be a creator and be disciplined and committed to my journey. So I think this was really, really helping me. This was setting the stage for actually making the decision of quitting the job and following through with this plan, meaning creating space in the morning for me to study before I actually go to work. I knew that I would not be able to do that in the evening because in the evening there's so many other distractions coming up, like for example meeting friends, going out for dinner, having maybe meetings, or having you there and spending time with you instead of during studying. And the morning was distraction free for me. I had the morning to really focus on my stuff because no one was awake during this time, basically. I didn't receive any calls and didn't receive any messages. So it was just time for me. And I was spending this time partly to study so that I was then actually able to make the next step of quitting the jobs that I had back then. And yeah, enjoying the freedom that I have now is for sure related to having a morning routine, having the discipline, having the understanding of how to be productive and how to keep a high focus.
Yeah. This is something that I admire a lot. Like I see him doing it every day. It's every day. And if, for example, in the weekend, if we spend more time in bed in the morning, he feels very different because if I may, I'm talking about you, is that when you spend too much time in bed, like by 11, you think, oh, I'm still in bed. I'm like so slow today. I should move my body. I should do something, which is you're probably now on a roll that you've created that for your life. So you get energized by doing that. It's not draining you. It's energizing you to have this structure.
Yeah. And for you, you're a good example that it's also differently possible. And depending on what kind of person you are, it's maybe not required to have this structured routine and do movement and stuff in order to be productive and to follow whatever you want to create in your life.
Yeah, I'm totally the opposite. So it's good that we can share different points of views because I feel that I'm a pretty focused person and I'm also achieving quite a lot. I have a lot of online programs, online coaching. I have success in my life, but I'm also creating it's not only about working, it's also about being driven what you want to create as a social life and the lifestyle and everything. And I've been very driven to create that without the structure that Christian created for himself. So somehow I made it work by being very flowy. Like I'm just like making things happen. It was not always like that because I feel that I used to run after the time. I used to think that I never had enough time. And then I worked on the concept of time and I reframed my thinking. So I think a lot of my success and my focus comes from reframing my thinking, which I think you're also doing, but you, on top of that, you have the frame of the schedule, which I don't. I don't use much the frame of the schedule. I just go just like that. I'm just following my heart. That's my thing. And I've worked a lot on the mindset and thinking that I always have time to achieve everything that needs to be achieved and even more time and more joy. And if I follow my joy, there is always enough time for me to learn, create, and be whoever I want to be. And I would say that most of my job was related to that, to reframe my thinking about who I am, about the way I'm thinking about my world, shifting my perspectives so that I can always find new ways of thinking the world and seeing things and creating my life and then making it happen. Because I don't believe in the magic thinking, like woo-woo, yeah, I'm just manifesting from the magic thinking. I also believe that we need to have free will, choice, speak it up and make it happen. So stepping into action. And I try to not have too much time between my thinking and my action, because otherwise I kind of lose the power of it. So if I'm overthinking things and if I become too perfectionist, or if I wait for the right moment, then there is no right moment. Things just don't happen. It's just
That's so
my
true.
best stuff. Yeah, my best stuff is just like it came from the heart. I thought, okay, I'm going to make it happen. I make the choice. And then I step into action like right away. And it works. It works very well.
Yeah, and there's a really good saying by Tony Robbins. He says, if you're in your head, you're dead. And I think this is really related to what you were saying. As soon as you're starting overthinking, the energy is not flowing anymore. And if the energy is not flowing anymore, what is there? There's not aliveness anymore. So you make sure that actually the energy keeps on flowing. And I'm doing the same, but I'm a person who actually also has to move the body in order to move the energy around. Therefore, it's really important for me to get out of the bed in the morning, to do some movement, to do some breathing and stuff like this. But this is just a container that we're almost like just a container that we're actually talking about. I think oftentimes when people come with the question, how can you stay so focused? It's not only this kind of understanding what we actually need in order to move our energy, but also how do we create space for what we're working on. Yeah. So what's your approach here? How can you stay so focused through your phase?
Well, I think I have a vision of life that I think we can do so much better. I can do so much better than who I am today and what I'm achieving today and the way I am in the world. I think you can do so much better too. I think everybody can do better. And I have a vision that the world can improve and that we are here for a reason, which is self-improvement and growth. And it's just an embodiment of something of a more divine being. And if I put myself at service to that, I cannot be lazy. It's like my life is at service to this higher vision. So then I'm committed to making this vision happen. And
this is basically being disciplined, what you're commenting on. It's being a disciple for what you really believe in, and you really believe in the vision that you have for your life or for the world.
Yeah, exactly. And what about you?
For me, it's really, really similar. I would just probably put it into different words. What I'm really, really resonating with is that there's a core that we all have, like a uniqueness, a potential. And I feel a lot of trust towards this potential. And I start noticing it probably 10 years ago or 6 years ago, 6 years ago, when I was doing my first breathwork sessions, because suddenly I heard a voice coming over and over again telling me what to do, and it was always the same message. And I got curious about what it actually is. Is it just like a part in my mind that's talking to me and has maybe an ego agenda, or is it something different? And over time, I learned that this is actually not just a sub-personality of your mind. It's actually way more. This is basically your true self. And I started to listen to this true self and followed what it was telling me to do. And actually, it's always right. It's always right. So, for example, it's telling me if I check in, if I do it on a constant basis, for example, just recently I did it, was checking in, should I have a coffee? And the answer was really, really clearly no. But there was still an urge for me to have this coffee, and I got the coffee, and I felt bad afterwards. It didn't help me to be in a good mood or anything. And then the next day I listened to it, and it was actually a good decision then not to drink a coffee. And the same is with other things. Sometimes I check in with this part inside of me that always knows better. And it's the part in us that tells us, you quit your job, you should quit your job, or you should talk to this beautiful person over there, or you should leave this relationship. There's a part in you that exactly knows what to do. Yeah. And I got connected to this part over and over again through breath work. And this was really, really helping me to stay focused.
Yeah.
knowing that this part means good. And this is my potential talking about. And I was listening to a podcast in the morning, and it was a Paul Check podcast, and he was saying, I think even this maybe comes even from Carl Jung. He said that most people nowadays actually live below their potential, and I think it's quite obvious that most people live below their potential and seeing what is actually happening in the world.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hopefully things will change now that there was a big crisis, because every crisis is an opportunity for checking with yourself. And actually there is this big resignation all over the world. I think it was a big thing in the US that a lot of people were deciding to quit their job at the same time.
Right.
Because, so it's a great opportunity that we're experiencing.
Absolutely. And this also brings me to another point that was actually on the list of our topics that we wanted to discuss here, which is like, go there where the world is treating you the best. Do you want to talk about it? What did you mean by that?
Quite often we just settle with what we have around us, and we're not really curious about other ways of living, or maybe we're curious about it, but we think it's not possible for me because I was not born in the right place, or I don't have the right environment around me, or the supportive people, or the ability to access this or that. But today that's not really true, because you have access to a lot of things online. It's just a question of curiosity and decided to make things happen. And then if you want to move, well, the countries are reopening and everything. So it's totally possible to move. And you've come across that person a year and a half ago or something that you shared with me. And it's this guy. It's a German. Is he German?
He's from Swiss, and I know him already like since 8 years. He was one of my fitness coaches back then.
Yeah. So this guy, he just basically where he's best treated. He just goes to the countries where he lives the best life he can live. He goes to places where he has the best treatments for his health. He just goes to different places, but by owning the responsibility of it. He's just not, he's not giving his responsibility, for example, his healthcare in the government's hands, because he's paying some kind of fees every month so that he will be reimbursed by everything. He just chooses to be rid of a sovereign being that then goes to different places here and there where it feels right for him. And it just put himself in the best circumstance that he can also give the best of himself. And this is something that we were not born with, and that we didn't grow up in. Like, we didn't grow up in families who were like that most of the time, and societies who were like that, because we are not taught to be standing by ourselves. And this is something that we must learn if we want to grow in, like, as individuals and as humanity.
Yeah, the old model, maybe not really old, but the one that is getting more and more outdated. It's about like having centralized power and centralized like an anchor for a lot of people to have safety. But what about if we can actually create safety by ourselves? And I'm not talking about that we should do everything about ourselves. It's okay to have here and there the insurances that are supporting you, but it's more about do we really want to put all the power into one hand? Or is there maybe an opportunity for us to look for small opportunities here where it's not so much about centralization and monopole?
Yeah. But it feels scary to be then deciding on so many things about your life, because then it means you start questioning everything. And then you come back always to yourself to find the answers. Where do I feel good? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? And all of those questions, we must ask them to ourselves every day, so that we can renew who we are and change our environment as well as we're changing. Otherwise, we're going to just kind of freeze who we are. But if we freeze who we are, we're not growing anymore. And in life, we must keep growing.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. And yeah, in a way, you can go crazy with this topic by just diving into it, and then. But I think it's again about really finding your own anchor inside of you
Yeah.
and really listening to yourself, and not so much listening to your mind. And I don't want to downplay the mind. The mind plays an important role, but see if what really resonates with you on an intuitive and gut level, instead of
Yeah.
only listening to what the part in us has to say that is actually almost or always afraid, because it's used to the safety that where we learned, okay, this is how safety looks like, and
Yeah.
this is how the world looks like, and this is how it should look like.
Yeah. Actually, then we have a question which is related to this, the safety piece, which is someone asked about the pyramid of Maslow. Yeah. And how does the question was, from your experiences, does the pyramid of Maslow make sense? And for me, it does. Like, I can relate to some things which have happened in my past where I was totally unfocused to creating a beautiful life because I was not able to be present for myself and present for creating anything. I was just in survival mode because I could not sleep before. I was suffering from insomnia and from anxiety, and I was all over the place. I was not present to myself. I was unable. I was suffering. And I think that when you're suffering, then your main goal should not to achieve a great life. Your main goal should be to stop the suffering and feel good with yourself, which is
absolutely
the basic.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it also, I see it the same way as you. I think it makes sense that we first have to make sure that we feel well, that we have the energy, that we can fill our own cup before we then actually can give it to other people, and then also continue on into self-actualization and really following our bigger vision for life.
Yeah, you cannot do everything at a time. You just do it step by step, piece by piece, and trusting that there is a wisdom inside of this, because I don't think life would send us any suffering just to hurt us. I think life is throwing at us challenges so that we can kind of refocus to inside of us so that we can come back to ourselves and grow out of it. So this is actually a redirection.
Yeah, usually. This is a really good point around having faith, right? How to find faith and where to find faith and how faith actually sounds. It's great, yeah.
Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to share about the environment is the people that surround you, because the people that surround you can either uplift you and help you keep your focus and help you grow and become who you want to become and who you know you can be inside of you deep down, because they're cheering you up, they're encouraging you, they're asking you the right questions, and they're empowering you. Or you can have people around you that are afraid for you to change and who wants you to stay exactly the same as you were when you met them, because maybe it threatens them, their own sense of identity. If you're changing, it means they should be changing too, or they don't dare to do it or anything. So it's, that's a big piece for me, is that being surrounded by coaches, living with Christian, which is a coach, and it's just, my friends are coaches. Like, my whole world is basically coaches. It's not about the title. Like, I don't care if you're a coach or if you're, I don't know, you can be a gardener. I don't care. It's your mindset. It's about how you approach life, and if you're able to question things, and if you're able to support yourself and support me in becoming who I am deep down, like the grandest version of me.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And also what's really empowering is just to have people who are leading with an example, right? And this is something that we have actually quite a lot in Costa Rica around us. People who decided to move to Costa Rica in order to have a more independent life, which is more aligned to their values and so on. And this is just seeing them is really uplifting as well.
Yeah.
And we are not only surrounded by coaches, we also have different people, for example, in Ovita in Costa Rica, right? Not only coaches. Yeah.
That's true. But I can see that there is a line, like,
let's
say, there's a pattern. Yeah. Like they can be retired and just super wise from all their wisdom, like the way they see life. Or they can be musicians and then just super creative and see through life with other eyes. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's mainly creators, right? People who are creating in this world, and it's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean, I have also people around me who are not creators, but who are actually really empowering, who are motivating me to keep on going.
Yeah. Thank you for helping me.
Thank you.
What else did we want to share? Oh yeah, if we continue this way, then we can share this little game that we have between you and I, which is playing how it's a bit of how does it get any better than this? Yeah. It's just we like to share the sentence, wouldn't it be nice if? And then you say it, I say it, and then we imagine the best future possible, and like we stretch the vision. Because sometimes we have a vision, but it's a bit limited because we can only imagine things that maybe we've seen somewhere in a movie or that we've seen someone having or doing. But if we stretch the imagination, we can go deeper, we can go bigger, we can dare more. So we play with each other so that we empower each other in having a bigger vision, a more beautiful vision.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it also connects to what we were hearing in the retreat that we were in a couple of weeks ago, where they were saying like you should actually have a vision, and beyond this vision, another vision, so that if you achieved your vision, or if you're on the way to this vision, your mind doesn't have to be afraid of, what's happening after I received and I have my vision in life, what's happening then, because the mind doesn't want to go there where there's unknown. So it's great to actually have one vision and then one bigger vision. And with this game that we're sharing oftentimes, it's a case that we're trying to dream bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We rope for some people. You still there? Yeah? Okay. You're still there?
Yeah.
I'm still
it's working.
There. Okay. Right.
Every time it cuts, I'm like, do I still have power?
I think it's on my side this time, actually.
Okay.
I think it can be also a slippery rope with this game, because it can be really quickly be like a more greedy game. Like, I want to have more, or it can sound like it, but it's not what we're doing. We still have a lot of gratitude for the life that we're having, and every day we share, we have our gratitude practices.
Yeah, we do. And our true nature is to be fully abundant and to be great creators. And it's just a reminder of that. This is who we truly are. If we remove all of the conditioning that we have around us, it's just, if we can cleanse everything, we can achieve.
Can you talk about what you mean by we are all abundant? I could imagine that not everyone will understand what we mean by that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm making shortcuts. So I've worked a lot about the abundance topic because it was a big deal for me, because I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years, and at the beginning I was not successful and I didn't have much money, just like every entrepreneur, I guess. And I invited into my life coaching, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, online program coaching about money. And I read a lot of books to understand, like, how come I have a problem with money? It was because I was living from a place of lack and imagining that there is not enough for everyone, and that abundance is not is not for everyone. That's what I used to think. But it's not true. Actually, we are abundant by nature. It's just that the system that is in place right now in the world is keeping us very small. It's just this, by system, I say the way we are raised, what they put in our heads, like the society as it's done, and the schools and the work, corporate world and the banking system, and all of it is just trying to make us feel like we must have this, but we are this.
Yeah.
We are huge. We are huge, but we think that we must have something. But the most important thing is that we are something immensely abundant. And this is just our true nature, to generate abundance and to make things happen, to create, because we're creators. And also, this is one of the reasons I think why I love so much living in the tropics. It's because this is such an abundant environment for me. It just reminds me that nature creates, and I'm part of nature. I create in an unlimited way. And so this is our birthright, to just be abundant, because we are. Yeah. And then we were not, because we were conditioned not to be. But who we are is abundance.
Yeah, right. We're part of nature. We are nature.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a tree generating the fruits, we can also generate our whatever it is.
Yeah.
We just have to learn to be the creator tools, and also expand our minds and our belief systems above what we learned in the past.
Yeah. So for me, it's absolutely not a greedy exercise, because it's really just coming back to who we truly are, being able to be so expansive. And then when we generate a large amount of abundance in terms of revenue too, then we can like, it overflows. Then we can participate in projects. We can empower people to be also abundant around us. And it just creates a ripple effect. And I think that today, one of the biggest chances that we have in humanity is that kind-hearted people like us, being abundant, are going to generate more abundance for other kind-hearted people around them and creators. And then the world is going to change very fast when we realize how powerful we are when we actually have the money in our hands. So this is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So exciting.
And there are also many great other examples, especially also in Costa Rica, like communities who are for almost like an independent state inside of a state, because they're providing for themselves. They have their permaculture, they have their schools and doctors and healers and coaches and so on inside of these communities.
Yeah,
and this is a really great example of how life could look like if we find the faith, if we leave the old beliefs behind.
Yeah. Well, then another thing that keeps me focused is to look ahead to people who have achieved what I would like to achieve, and having mentors, having sources of inspiration has been really helpful for me, because then it keeps me focused. I'm thinking, if she could do it, then I can do it. I mean, I can do it too. I don't know yet how, but I'm going to find a way. If she could find a way, I'm going to find my way too.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And this also reminds me of, from time to time I hear it, you're lucky. You're lucky because you have a supportive partner, or you're lucky because you have the genes, or you're lucky because you have a talent, or whatsoever. But it's not really helping ourselves to put everything, saying that everything is just luck, what we see in other people. It's really not in service of ourselves, even to say, I'm lucky, that's why I have this life. It's also not really helpful. It's really recognizing what you actually did to get there. And sometimes it's just taking the steps and then doors opening up, right? Yeah. This is also oftentimes happening if we take the leap.
Yeah. Usually when we see a lot of lucky people, they've done a lot of choices in their lives, like a lot of choices that led them here. They probably cut cords with past lives that they've had. They probably did a lot of work on their mindset, and they took action. And every day they're just choosing again and again and again. So it's rarely luck. Yeah. I also wrote in the thing that I wanted to talk about is being able to sit with the fears, because being focused is not about just rushing to what you want to, who you want to be and what you want to achieve, but it's also being able to just sit with the discomfort so that you can release the energy of being afraid and all of this, just welcoming all that is inside of you. Because if you're not able to sit with your emotions here and now, then you won't be grounded in your focus, because you will just be all over the place without knowing why and how to get out of it. Just a big part of it is being able to sit with yourself and acknowledge how you feel, and then make your emotions, which is just energy in motion, move just by observing it and releasing it and allowing it, and maybe tapping on it. I love to tap. It's just EFT, emotional freedom technique. But some people have other ways. You move your body, but this is also an important one.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, we get over-identified with the fears and the blockages. We think this is us, but it's actually not us. And as soon as we do, for example, the tapping or the breath work, or we move our bodies, we can then suddenly find a place of confidence, which was not there when we were in this doubtful state. So it's almost like an on-blending happening here, where you suddenly are centered again. And in the centered place, you can enter the flow of creating in your life whatever it is that you want to create.
A lot of people, I think, are also maybe afraid of making choices, which is a big one too. It's like, if I go this way, then it means I'm not going that way. And who tells me that this way is better than that way? And well, nobody can tell you, because you will only know when you will be on the journey. And my feeling is that there is no right or wrong way. There is just different experiences, and we can't really fuck it up. It's just that we will fuck it up if we're not moving. Because most of the time, it's just not doing anything, not choosing anything for a long time, not for a short time, but for a long time is, it's just, you're supposed to grow, you're supposed to change, you're supposed to evolve. So if you're not choosing a path, then you're choosing to not choose and to stay where you are. And then this is just detrimental for the future. It's just, just get rid of the fears of making mistakes, because there is no mistakes in a way. And there is just learning.
You're right. And I really believe that one of the most important qualities that we can bring into this life is being curious, because curiosity will keep our minds open for possibilities, and it will keep our minds open for this little voice inside of us that is always sending us this message over and over again. And I think this is why I'm where I am, because of this innate curiosity that I didn't get disconnected from. And I think many people get actually disconnected from curiosity, and then they get stuck. Sometimes.
Life has so much to show us, but we tend to judge the stepping stones, and we think, I don't know if that's what I want. But if we're just eyes and heart open, life is going to show you the next steps, and it's going to be wonderful. You just needed to be a little bit more open.
Okay. Do you have more points?
I do. I'm a big believer in showing up. It's just that if you show up for life, life shows up for you. It's just, for me, a big part of my focus, I would say, maybe for everything, actually, also for relationships. I was going to say mostly for my business, because most of my business success is showing up. It's just, I get up in the morning, I show up, I'm at service to the people and to just, I'm dedicated to the work. But when I think about it, I'm also dedicated to my love life and my beautiful relationship with you. It's just about getting up and showing up. It's just not saying, oh, I'm not there anymore, you know, hiding. Oh, I'm here. Oh, no, I'm not here anymore. Oh, I'm here. Oh, not today.
So
No,
you're
it
talking
doesn't
about
matter.
also having some consistency in showing
Yes.
up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day. It's just every day
Yeah. Yeah.
showing up. And it's just, it's being present at it. And it's just not, it has to do with choice. It's like, I choose, I'm committed. I choose, I'm committed to creating the best love life that I can ever create
Yeah.
with you. And I choose to create the best lifestyle that I can create. I choose to create the best company that I can create with the best team and the best online programs and the best trainings and the best coaching. It's just, you get up and you choose, and then you just own it, and then you show up for it. And there is something which is immensely powerful when you do it. It's just, then you have an energy which is radiating out of you. But if you do it just a little bit, oh, I'll show up today and tomorrow I'll stay in bed. And then I'll show up the day after and then I'll stay in bed. It's not the same. It's just not the same energy. It's just ups and downs. And then you vibrate here instead of vibrating there. It's just, you attract different opportunities. You attract different people.
Yeah. One of my favorite agreements of Toltec wisdom is always do your best. Many people get triggered by that, but if you understand what it actually means, it makes a lot of sense. Always doing your best means showing up with consistency for yourself. And sometimes it means to rest. Sometimes it means to go to action. What's important here is not to kid not how do you say, not to kid yourself, not to
Quit?
no, not to quit yourself. Yes. Also, yeah, this is also quite related. It's more about be true to yourself. Do you want to rest because you really need to rest right now? You feel like, okay, I'm sleepy, I should go to bed now. Or do you want to have a nap because you're afraid of something, you're trying to avoid something?
That's a big one. I think there is a lot of people in the spiritual development realm that say, I don't feel like it. So if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to do it. But sometimes you don't feel like something because you're afraid of it, or because it's too much for you to show up, or you don't feel like it because you know that if you succeed, then you're going to make some people around you uncomfortable. So you don't feel like it because you don't feel like changing your sense of identity. You don't feel like it, but why don't you feel like it? This is something that needs to be inquired.
Yeah, I think it's a scale, like of how much you actually trick yourself, and over time you actually learn, oh, okay, probably I was actually not really, that was not really the lying decision. I was actually lying to myself, and then you move forward, and then you actually see what you're actually really capable of. And I think this is something that we all have to experience, or most of us have to experience, especially if we go into this mission of following what we really dream of in our life. To see, okay, to really reflect on, okay, was I lying to myself there, or was it actually really true? And then we can find actually, our strengths, our zone of genius, where we can actually act in.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, there's still biases also still coming up for me, where I'm like thinking like, oh, I maybe should, I actually need a coffee, and actually I don't need a coffee, and it just makes everything worse. But this is the way that I'm lying to myself, and it's a constant learning to see what's actually really in the flow of what I want to create, or if it's not in the flow of what I want to create. And maybe it's just a way of sabotaging myself.
Yeah. Well, we've shared a lot of things today. I hope it was not overwhelming for the people who listen to us. You have something that you created actually that you could finish because you were focused by yourself in the Netherlands, and I was not a distraction, probably also. The thing you created is free. It's about routines. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I created a free product, and which is around creating your own unique morning routine. And what I discovered in morning routines over the last 10 years is how important it is to stay flexible in your morning routine and not to see it just as a few things that you can check from your to-do list, but really be mindful of what is actually right now in the flow and what's actually against the flow of my own energy. So I created a concept around how to create your own morning routine, which is considering your own energy, but which is also considering where you want to heading or where you want to be in the future, and also how to create harmony in the morning. And this oftentimes means there's a yin practice, like something that's actually calming, and a yang practice, which is actually moving more energy in your body.
Does it include,
Yeah.
Sorry, does it include scrolling memes?
Scrolling memes? Oh, no, I wouldn't say so. So I think one thing that I actually mentioned in this product is to avoid your phone in the morning.
Oops.
And also your laptop. So probably no memes.
That's okay.
But if this is your thing, if it brings you something, if it's in the flow, then go for it.
I'm gonna share the link of your offer. It's free, and but it's on your website. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
In English.
Exactly.
It's in English. So for the French-speaking people, you're gonna have to learn English.
And it's a document you can just copy and translate if you want.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. What do you think will happen if people get more focused? Let's say tomorrow everybody gets up and stays focused and not so distracted by,
Okay, let's connect it with curiosity. Let's connect it with curiosity. Focus on curiosity, because they could maybe be focused on the wrong ladder, and then they climb up the ladder and then they see it's actually not the right wall they are climbing up. So let's also include your curiosity and focus. So what's your question? What would happen?
Yeah, what will happen if everyone in the world will do it?
I would guess that the world would definitely completely change. It would be more in harmony with life in itself.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we would find ways to work better and less, that a lot of people will have more free time.
Yeah.
The relationship to time would change a lot. And then probably would be very smart. Like we would be smarter in terms of thinking about solutions. And I'm looking forward to see that happen.
Yeah. Me too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, I guess we're done. I wish you a beautiful evening. And to everyone that is listening to us in Europe, have a beautiful evening. It's still the morning for me. Yeah.
Enjoy your day. And everyone, enjoy your evening. And let us know if you have any more questions related to this topic or anything else that you're curious about to find out about us.
Yeah, you can leave comments.
Bye-bye.
À bientôt. Bye-bye.